Welcome to the shop. Have you ever seen a piece of antique furniture and looked at the carvings on it and said to yourself, I could probably build that piece if it wasn't for the carving on it? We seem to be intimidated by carving, and it doesn't have to be that way. I know I was way back when I first started woodworking. I saw a highboy at an auction, and I purchased it because I saw the highboy, I saw the ball and claw feet and the carving on it, and I thought, I'll never be able to carve anything like that. So if I want something like that, I'm going to have to buy it. Well, as time has gone on, I have developed the skills in order to carve those kind of things, and it's not an innate thing that is God-given necessarily. It's something that you can learn. I'm sure that some people adapt to it quicker than others. However, you can learn it. I learned it, and you can too. So today, what I wanted to talk about is this fan carving. And it's just a standard fan. Nothing special about it. This is basswood. And this was just done for the Florida SAFM get together. And I just wanted to show how you go about carving a fan. Now, the thing is this fan, it's not necessarily about this fan. It's about how to carve a fan. It's about what to think about, there's so many ways of doing it, but what to think about, how to go about it. That's the purpose of this, not to use this for anything. So anyway, this is the fan. And I wanted to show you how carving, the appearance of carving is changed by light and light direction. If you see this light here, you can see that the carving changed. And all this is about is highlights and shadows. Changing the light so you can see. And I think most carvers, when they start, they think they have to go really deep, and you don't. All you have to do is a small, very tiny depth adjustment, and it creates a shadow where you can see what you're trying to put across. This is not very deep, and I'll show you how we do this. So anyway, we're going to have some fun today. We're going to carve this fan. I'm going to do it for you. Let's talk about, first of all, the layout. Now, there's a ton of ways to lay these out. This is just the way that I did it, and just a way to get you started. But if you draw an arc with a compass, and then you can divide these rays up, and that's basically how you lay it out. Now, if you look at this, you look at the top here, I have it kind of shown. This piece of wood is 3 5/16 high, 6.5 inches long. So anyway, you take 90 degrees, which is your straight up and down 90 degrees, and you want 6 rays. You divide by 6, that gives you 15 degrees. All right? So really all you have to do is lay the first one out and get the measurement, and then you can mark the rest of it out. Now you can take your dividers and you could start at this point and you could work your way around, you know, till you get it where it all lays out evenly to where you have your 6 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I found that that's time consuming, adjusting it and all that other stuff. So I find that it's not necessary. Once you find out that 90 divided by 6 is 15, you figure out where your 15 degrees is. I'll show you how to do that. Your 15 degrees is, you get your compass, and then you can mark the rest of it out. It's really just that simple. Now, this is just an arbitrary size. You could do a bigger one, like this one right here. And if you wanted more rays, for instance, this one has more raises, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 90 degrees divided by 8, which is 11 1/4. So this first ray is 11 1/4. And then once you set your compass, you can mark that out. Okay? Pretty simple. Now this small little radius here, this can be what you want design-wise. And what I normally do is I make it the size of a tool. Like this is a number 7 gouge. So the sweep on the number 7 fits this perfectly. You go around it. You go around it and it fits this. So this can be expanded or contracted however you want in order to get this button here at the bottom. Okay? So the other thing I wanted to talk about is there's so many different types of fans. The list goes on. And there's different ways of finishing them off. This one has a swell to it. It is lower here, comes up a little bit, and then dives down here. This is straight. This is straight. So there's no right or wrong unless you're trying to reproduce an antique. Then you want to follow it exactly. Otherwise, you have creative liberty to do what you want with your fan. Make it however you think looks good or is good with your piece. And there's many different ways of doing it. And there's many different ways of finishing off the rays at the top. The scallops here. And I have that. Let's see, where is that? I have that kind of shown somewhere here. I have another piece here where you can see. Now this one here, I came in with a V tool right here, and then came back and made this concave. Here is just the regular radius. Here this, let it come up and into a radius. So there's all kinds of ways of doing it. I tell you what, let me show you. This is a book. This is called American Furniture of the 18th Century by Jeffrey Green. And it really starts with the Jacobean period, which is 1607 to 1690, and you don't see any fans. There, you can see it there. You don't see any fans in this period, and This is interesting. This piece here at the top right here, they called it a press cupboard. That is actually on the cover of Fine Woodworking, the latest issue. Is a piece that Peter Follansbee did. It is very much like that one. And this period is not, devoid of carving. It does have a lot of carving in it. It's just that it doesn't have fans. We don't see fans coming into the picture until you get to the lots of bun feet here in the Jacobean period. Till you get to the Queen Anne period, which starts at 1725 and ends 1760. But you'll see a lot of fans on high boys, low boys, and they are all different, completely different. Here's one on a table. So, again, I have these marked with some veneer things here. This is actually a shell, this book actually shows you how to do a fan carving right here. Under surface ornamentation, how to carve a fan. This is a great book. It goes into all kinds of different things, and I think it has plans in the back too. Let me see. I think it has plans in the back. Yes. They've got some drawings. So, really good book. Again, it's American Furniture, green. Here's another book. This is Fine Points of Furniture. And you can go through here and look at the different fans. They're all over in here. And again, they're all different. So let your imagination go with it. Let me pick up my compass here, the drop. All right. So we have a lot of creativity that we can get into. Why don't we start out and lay one out? Let's do it. Again, this is not the only way to do it. It's one way. So, all right. So this piece is 8 inches. So we're going to mark the center at 4 inches. And we're going to create a vertical line. Now, when you create these lines, you want to let them go out. You want to let them extend out past your radius, because that way when you erase them while you're carving, you can bring them back. You'll know exactly where they're at. I'm just going to extend this line a little bit. All right, so that's our 90 degrees. Excuse me. I'm getting over a little head cold. All right, so on this one, let's mark where we're going to be at. Oh, we're actually right on it. Okay. So we're going to set our point here at the bottom, and we're going to make our arc here. Okay. We can also do our little button here at the bottom. We know that this, if I put this the same as this, it's going to match our number 7 sweep. Again, you could do this to whatever tool you have. If you have a number 8, you could do it that way if it looks pleasing to you. All right. It's close enough. Now again, we're going to lay this out. I'm just going to take a cheap plastic protractor that you can get at the dollar store or Walmart. Nothing to it. Now we've already figured out that 90 divided by 6 rays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is 15 degrees. So we lay this out. $15. This might get a little more difficult if you have, unusual parts of like, I don't know, whatever. If it's odd or whatever, it would make it more difficult. But anyway, here, 15 degrees. Here's 10, here's 15. So we can mark that out. Again, to me, this is easier than taking your compass and try and walk around. It just takes too long. So once you get your 15 degrees, you mark it here. Okay, so then you take it here, 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 and here. Now you know the center one's going to be 45. Pretty obvious, right? Again, we'll start here on this side. The first one. Second. Third. 4, 5, and 6. All right, once we got that done, all we're going to do is connect the dots, basically. Again, I'm going to let it go past, and you'll actually see why after a while. Not a whole lot to this. But layout is very important. If you don't lay it out right, it won't be right. Now in this example, we are not carving here in this button, we're just carving outside of it. All right. So again, this is 15 degrees. This is 30. Obviously, this is 45. This is 60 and 75. But it doesn't matter, right? So at this point, you can decide whether you want to carve this flat or you want to put some kind of a swell into it, a curve. This one actually has a curve, and I'll kind of give you an example of what it looks like. If you can imagine, this red line is the flat. You've got the button that's here. It's going to come down and then come back up. Actually, this is going to be deeper. It comes more like that. So, this is only going to, this is exaggerated. This is only maybe less than 1/8 of an inch, really, here at the lowest point. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Again, this is our example. So we're gonna come in here and we're gonna lower this part right here. And it's gonna come from like right here down. And then it's gonna come down here and then back up again. That makes sense. Now, when you're doing this, let me bring in some tools here. I use this little tray that I made just to kind of hold the tools. Just easier for me. They don't roll around everywhere. But of course, it's limited by, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 spots there. So again, like I said, we could come around here and we could go right around this. I'm calling it a button. I don't know what the real word is for it. And all we're going to do is just stab down. Now you can do it this way, or you can do it with a V-tool. And you could come around, and now when I'm holding these tools, I'm not always doing them what's comfortable for me. I'm going to do it how I think you can see it on the camera. So, but you would come outside the line in this case, and you would just go around with the V-tool and relieve it. What's nice about that is when you stab down, you can push the fibers into this part. If you get a little too aggressive with it, you can push them into this part here, and you don't want to do that. If you come through with a V-tool first, then you can come back through with your number 7, and then you can work back to it. Okay? It makes it easier for some people. It really doesn't matter however you want to go about doing it. So I didn't really stab this in very deep. So the best way is just to rock the tool. And you may have to come back and do it over again, but you can get a start. This is not always the way I carve, but this is the way I did it for Saffron. It holds the block, and that's really all that matters. And I can turn it real easy. So we'll turn this, and we'll get a small number 5, and we'll go through and come back to our stab line along that line there. Now you'll see some of it wants to come up, some of it doesn't. That's all right. You really don't want to use your carving gouge as a pry tool. You're better off coming back through and resetting it again. Again, all I'm doing is coming back and I'm just creating some depth. Actually, probably creating more than what I need right now. That's okay though. Now the thing with carving, excuse me, I always tell people you want to work clean. For instance, if you look closely, there's some areas here that are not up yet. So we're going to go and deal with those. We're going to make sure that that is out of there. We don't want to leave any little ragged pieces of wood in there. So carving by hand takes time and you have to have a bit of patience. But it's nice, quiet, and enjoyable work. All right, so we're going to go around here now. We're going to take an arc. Let's say somewhere right around in here, and a little more. The actual position is not as important as what we're going to do here. All right, and we're going to create this little area here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this number 7 and we're going to create that dip in through here. All right, so we'll just come right across here, and you'll feel it as you go through that the grain changes and stuff, and you just adjust accordingly. This is a little more awkward. I wouldn't normally do it this way, but I actually don't like sitting down and carving either. I like to stand because you can really get your body more into it. So I'm just kind of working my way out. And you see, as I do that, I'm taking that line away, and that's the reason why we wanted it to go past that point. I'm going to come back here. Grain turned on me there. So our high point should be somewhere right around here. I'm just carving right up to that outside line there. I've seen some fans that kind of have a double line there at the end, and you can play with that and make it whatever you want it to be. To me, this is all about your own creativity. And just because the old masters did it a certain way doesn't mean you have to do it that way. That's just the way they found it worked for them or what they liked, unless you're copying a piece. Maybe we'll just do half of this because we really don't. I can get my point across with just the half. I like these fishtails, by the way. They work good. But you see, you have to have a bit of patience. And just kind of just keep working it. This area that I'm in here now is going to be the deepest part. And again, it doesn't have to be that deep. You can determine that. Now, in order to kind of level this out, you might want to take a flatter gouge, like maybe a number 3. And that'll help flatten this out some. Taking the ripples out of it, so to speak. We'll go to a smaller number 5, I think. Or maybe we'll go to a bigger number 5. I don't know what the size is on this because I think it's about a 20 millimeter. I made this tool myself about 40 years ago. It was out of a leaf spring of a car, believe it or not. But it really cuts well. I had a forge at that time. I don't any longer. All right, so I'll take this out, and you'll see it's not real smooth, but we'll get there. You'll see that it has a bit of a wave to it. And that's what we're looking for. All right, so we're going to reestablish our lines. Okay, so we reestablished our lines here, and we're ready to move on. I think at this point we're at about 30 minutes, so I don't want to make the video too long. We'll chop this up into 2 parts. So we'll stop here at this point, and then we'll kind of finish it up in the next part 2. All right? See you then.